I know, right? It's time to start Dishin Days with your hosts, Tony Moore, Michael Mattis, Justin Lee Hareld, and Araceli Aviles. And now, let's dish. Why, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Welcome to Dishin Days, where we're serving up a full dish of this week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera, Days of Our Lives. If you haven't already, make sure you like us and follow us on all social media platforms. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, if you haven't already, which you should have, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. That way you'll never miss when we're going live and in living color. And while you're there, check out our mini interviews from Day of Days, the Emmys, and other shenanigans that we've been through right there on our YouTube channel. And if you want to get exclusive content, make sure you become an exclusive member of our members only page. You can hit the join button right there on our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you find us on your favorite podcast station in case you need to take us on a long walk or while you're walking through the cobblestones of Paris, or if you're pumping iron in the gym. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Just type in Dishin Days and find out all the stunt shows and shenanigans that happened in Salem this week. Also, show some love to our former co-host and my chocolate twin, Mr. James Lott Jr., who was serving up a couple of dishes of his own. Make sure you check out a recap of General Hospital, Bold and the Beautiful, and Young and the Restless, along with some original dramas brought to you by my oldest friend, James Lott Jr. He loves it when I do that. Yeah. All right. And of course, we are looking at your comments. So make sure you comment and let us know what you thought, as we'll be taking a look at all of those. But before we dive deep into what happened this week, we have a very, very special guest. You may know her from shows like 90210 in Dallas, but you definitely know her as Miss Cat Green on Days of Our Lives. Please help me welcome the stunningly beautiful Miss AnnaLynne McCord, everyone. Yay! How are you?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, we are so excited that you are here. Thank you for being a part of our wonderful show.
You guys are hysterical. I was loving this. old.
Well, you know, he is my oldest friend, and I like to remind him of that. So, you know, what kind of friend would I be if I didn't remind him?
You got to be honest. You know,
exactly.
Unlike Cat Green, who's just a liar, but you know.
She's a liar, but we have sympathy for her. Empathy.
We do. We have a lot of empathy for Cat, and we're gonna dive into her because
when you have a common enemy like Clyde, who
that's how everyone feels about Clyde.
This was one of my favorite weeks, and I think everybody knows why, of the year. And we'll talk about it when we recap, but that gave us some empathy. Like, oh, she had to deal with Clyde. Okay, we'll give her a little bit of empathy.
As we say in the South, bless her heart.
Oh my God, I'm from the South too, so I say that all the time.
Oh my God, I love it. Everyone's like, you're being a bitch. I don't know if I can curse on here, but I'm like, yes.
You can. Oh, you can say anything you want.
Like, well, bless your heart too.
Yeah. Well, and you know, whenever you say bless your heart, how you say it says everything.
Thank you. I had a northerner, a yam danky, one of those damn Yankees, telling me that bless your heart was just an insult. And I'm like, no, it's not. If he's 4 years old, it's because he's cute as pie. If he stubs his toe, it's because you feel bad they got hurt. There's a lot of it depends on the way you say it. So thank you.
The context of it matters. It's a context thing. I get it.
It is.
I'm a Yankee. I get it.
Okay.
I would never try to use it though, because I'd mess it up and they'd be like, no, that's not how you. That's no.
Mm-mm. No.
No, you have to be very careful, because if it's like she's 15 and pregnant, bless her heart, that really means, Lord, that girl is in for it, but she's also a whore.
Lord help her.
All right, so first of all, AnnaLynne, let me tell you, we heard that you were coming on the show a year before you actually like appeared on the show. And there was so much anticipation as to like who your character was, who are you gonna be, who are you gonna play, and then finally the day came, and it was like, welcome to Salem, AnnaLynne McCord. We are so excited. And we watched the show, and we looked, and towards the end, all we got was this. And we were like, what is happening?
We nicknamed it the CCTV footage you get from like an old like security get from like the 90s. We were like, why does it look like it was decades old?
It's like Dateline Walmart footage.
Yeah.
Like for you, like how did it feel to like, you know, like finally like have your debut and it be this CCTV like kind of head and the shoulder kind of moment, and you're like, well, there's more people, there's more to come.
Next year, and I come back for a little more. So it was so funny, y'all, because so I'm terrible. Like my friends for 20 years have told me, you don't tell us when you're on a show or a film. We find out like, you know, from some random person or some news article or something. And so I did a lot of press that week that my character comes to Salem, right? And of course, all the press interviews are like, so who is she? I can't tell you. So what is she doing? I also can't mention that. So who's she connected? I won't be able to say that. So like the interviews are actually completely nil because I can't say anything. But my friends are like, they've just kind of accepted that I might update on social. So then that's where that's how you know what AnnaLynne's up to. So I get all these phone calls a couple days after my initial day. And it's like, hey, you know, we rewound and fast forwarded. We watched a couple episodes in a row. I'm not sure. Did you mean Young and the Restless? I'm like, oh, and I was like, oh, guys, I filmed that. To your point about me not coming on the show for a year, we're so far ahead on filming. I'm a whole nother person. I'm not mystery woman. I'm not fake Abigail. I'm actually all the way into Cat Green. So I don't even know who I am anymore. And I'm like, oh God, guys, I don't show up for a while actually. And they're like, we sat on the couch and like we thought we were going crazy. So yes, you weren't the only ones who had that experience.
It was kind of comical. I took this summer off. I wasn't doing the show. I was still keeping up with Days though, and saw everything on Instagram. And I saw like they're like, oh, it's her debut week finally. This was like in I want to say July or August, and June. And so I texted. We were all in a group chat, and I texted the group because I kept watching the show, and I was like, wait, isn't AnnaLynne McCord supposed to be on now? And they're like, yeah, we saw her. We saw like a little bit of her. And so I missed that episode where I was expecting like a full on like debut and like talking and stuff. No. So I was like, well, where is she? And so that's when they were like, well, we just saw a little bit. She hasn't been a big presence yet. So yeah, it was also confusing to me because anyway.
And they watched that CTT footage for weeks trying to decipher
like
who it was.
Slow motion, like when she whips her head. Well, I do feel like there should have been like a soft announcement and then like okay, like if you are tuning in because this character is coming on, you'll hear her and see her actual face on this day.
Was it difficult for you? We mentioned like the long span of time between like December of last year when it was announced, and then it just kind of went quiet. We didn't hear anything, to the point where I was like, is that still happening? Like, and then, you know, July, August came around. During that long period of time where you were obviously working on the show, and like you said, you were fully into, you know, you knew who you were, you knew who this character was, you knew who she wasn't. And was there any point where you were like, I just need to tell someone, I just need to tell people, like, or you know, you're a pretty experienced actress, maybe you know how to keep it quiet and not let it get to you? Because I'm not like that, so I'd be sued very quickly. But how do you just kind of, is it something you train yourself, or is it just like, it's not a big deal, it's fine?
Well, it's a great question, because on a show like this, you know, typically what happens when you're announced for something, it's the beginning of a show or it's the beginning of a season, but your character is quite featured. Days is the brand, is the character, right? So it's actually there. It behooves them to unveil you, you know, over time, because it extends the experience of the character for the viewers. But when you're doing the press side, Andrea, our show PR, she's so amazing. She was like, why did they announce in December? This doesn't make sense. I'm with you, girl, because I actually had so many events in the early months of 2024. I'm like, what year am I in? This is like the longest, shortest year of my life. I feel like the last half decade has been that way. But so I would be on red carpets and everyone has heard the announcement. So then it's like AnnaLynne McCord from 9-0 and now Days of Our Lives. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm a person.
What did you say? Honey.
Honey. I'm like, well, I can't say much. If I can't say much, I mean, I can't say nothing at all. So bye. But it's like, it literally, like, I couldn't give them anything, because on day, and they called me and like, they gave me a name. So they're like, who's Marin? I'm like, I don't know who Marin is. I'm not Marin. Yeah. Like, they actually like had the name that was on the, the original casting breakdown. Yeah. Because everything is like, it's like, you know, classified as, you know, Secret Service top secret, you know, like classification or whatever. That was probably not correct, but you feel me. So yeah, it was hard because I was excited because my grandmother, like I would go to her house and this was playing. These actors that I'm working with, you know, several of them are faces that I saw when I was 8 years old at my grandmother's house. So it was an exciting thing. And it was like, so this was different than you do learn, but this was the lead time was so much. And there was so little that could actually be said without telling what was going on, that because I wanted them to speculate about it being Abigail, but they didn't want to even confirm that it was a potential Abigail coming back, because at the time they didn't actually know if I was gonna be Abigail or not.
Oh wow!
I knew it.
There was a whole drama with that because, you know, the writer's strike had happened. So the team that was putting this together was not able to communicate with like the supervising team. And then so they're like, is she or isn't she? And I'm like, is she or isn't she? Y'all? Like, what to do. So it was a little bit complicated for the beginning few months for talking about it in any capacity, but even just trying to figure out what the hell I was doing every day. I was like, Billy, help me.
So when were you finally let into the loop on who you actually were? How far in?
If you say when you got the script
that said my name is Cat Green.
Yeah, how long were you let into like, oh well, maybe she's a nameless person, maybe she's a ghost, who is she?
No, you know who told me Billy speculating behind the scenes while we're working. He's like, okay, you're clearly not this, but you're probably connected to this Constantine. I'm like, okay. You're probably connected here. You're probably this. You're probably that. And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, please help me. But they will tell you, but you kind of like, I don't really think they knew. So I found out like in just the couple of weeks prior to like playing Cat Green as Cat Green that I was going to be Cat Green. And then I had to go down a rabbit hole on who she was and her mother and her family and what, so I didn't know, like they were putting together the sister and brother dynamic. So that was, but that was the connection that we had to Katarina wasn't determined until like a couple weeks, or it wasn't told to me until like a couple weeks before it was announced.
Wow.
So
that's so interesting because we were speculating too, like, is it what the mystery of it was so much we were like, okay, is she really Abigail? And did that change? Did that change from the writer's strike? Is she now Cat Green? Like there was a lot of just mystery and sort of questions about like who you were.
Well, one way to keep the mystery going is to not really know what you're doing. I think they were really like, there was a conversation of like, look, when you decided to come on board, we were like, we want this to be something that for you. So there was an aspect of them wanting another Abigail, but then I like the casting director Marnie and I go back to when I was 18 years old. She was actually my first screen test. And then 18 years later, she's like, I wanted to work with you for 18 years. So we have a little like, magic there, which is really cool. But so I think there was a shift actually when I came on board, because it was like, okay, we could redo a storyline that's been done, and a couple of actresses have obviously played Abigail, or we can just clear the slate. And I think it was a little uncertain because the writer's strike was still coming to an end at that point. So it was a lot was up in the air, and the best way to keep a secret is to not really know what the secret is.
Well, we think they made the right decision. They definitely made the right decision.
Yeah, I mean,
I love it because I got to experience the Abigail energy. A lot of feedback of like, she better not be another Abigail, which is amazing. I was living for it. Billy's like, get ready.
Well, I feel bad to say, but like early on, we didn't know her name either, but we just started calling her Abigail because. Because we were like, I mean, clearly she's not Abigail. She has no memory. The memory's not coming back. What's happening? What's going on? So we were every now and then we would go to the chart and be like, okay, this is what we know about her, and try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. But
sounds like Billy was doing this. Billy had his own chart.
Billy had his own chart.
And he was like, football.
We should have all gotten together and tried to figure it out.
Right. We probably still would have been wrong, but it's okay.
Right. But with that, did that, like, going into it and not knowing much and having everything change, like as an actress, did that change the way you portrayed the character at all? Like, was there ever a shift where you're like, I have an idea and I'm going to play it this way, and then it's like, oh nope, and then you're like, I think I now have to play it this way. Were there constant shifts in how you portrayed who we now know as Cat? Yeah,
it's a great question. I always think of every moment like, if I were going into an audition, I'm not told anything. I have one scene and I have to play the truth of that moment. And that has to come as organically as it can from me and my life experience and what I'm bringing to the table as my essence and what I understand of the character with the limited details that I had. And I kind of played every day like I was auditioning, quite frankly, because there were times where I was like, I wouldn't have made that decision if I knew that was what she was doing. There's some elements to her that I didn't find out until like recently, which is well into 2025. And I was like, I definitely would have played her a little smarter if I knew that,
No, I mean, so far, I mean, we think you as an actress are so dynamic. I mean, day one, even though, well, okay, day two, because day one we only saw this, but day two.
Day one was me dabbing in the corner.
Abigail, bitches. But it's like there were soaps are very hard and they work very fast. And you know, we've been talking about this show and watching this show for quite some time. And when you came on, you're one of the people that were like, she gets it. Like she's already like in it. We're on this journey with her, whatever that journey may be. But like you were just so settled into it, and we just kind of rode this roller coaster with you. It's been an interesting ride, but we've been with you since that CTV cat scan that we saw of you. So kudos to you for just getting in there and just being the super talented person that you are, and just like hitting it out of the box. We'll say day one too, because day one you gave us mystery, and not many people can do that. You know, how do you play mystery? You know, you told us a lot with that shoulder and strand of hair. So kudos to you.
I really appreciate that. That's actually the scene I'm submitting for the daytime Emmys. So guys,
nice.
Nice.
You know, I do have to say though, I'm so lucky to work with Billy. He can't stand when I do this, so it's definitely, I'm just gonna lay it on thick right now. But he's such a raw talent. And he can't stand compliments, so I compliment him constantly just to irritate him.
Billy can't stand compliments? That's news to me.
He actually loves that shit. Okay. I'm just saying. But we don't know what we're doing, right? We're like, we get in there and we're like, okay, we have 4 seconds and go. And we kind of work in the same process. We're both very instinctual. We both kind of have to feel it. And then sometimes just magic happens when you are in that space. And other times it looks a little messy, which happens for sure too. But I love working against his magic and his messy. And it's made playing this character really something that I don't think I've done in my career. I've always played very kind of like, you know, I'm going for like Catherine Trammell Basic Instinct vibes, you know, or I'm like Miss Popular, I'm popular. But with her, I find her endearing, and she's a mess around him. And she's like, you know, and I think because everything started so wonky, my instincts were all over the place because I didn't really know what I was doing. And he just like, he rolled with it. And then it's almost like we just kind of play tennis back and forth. And I have to give kudos to him because these are the unsung heroes of our industry, in my opinion. The amount of material that these guys do, and I'm learning to do, but have done for years and years and years, is just incredible. And they do it so fast, and they're so on it, and there's such camaraderie. So I'm really enjoying that aspect of being on daytime.
Was there an episode in particular or a script you got, because you're very seasoned in primetime? Like we mentioned Dallas, 90210. I watched both. Loved you in both. But like you were just saying, going into daytime, it's so quick. There's so much, you got to be on it. Was there, going into it, was there a script you got and you were going through it and that gave you a little bit of pause, like, holy crap, like that made you almost, I don't want to say doubt yourself, but that you were particularly nervous about having to go in? And like you were saying, there was so much mystery around your character, you might not have known what you were doing at times. Was there any scene in particular where you were just like, oh my gosh,
only like once every week? No. No, you know, I will say that when the shift was happening between, we were figuring out in real time this week, actually, that we're talking about today. When we discover Katarina, when we discover that I'm Cat, like there was a lot of emotions flying around. There's one scene in particular where I'm reading the lines and I was like, are they for real? Like, am I like, what? I have to like in the middle of having just like my brothers just attempted to murder Chad. And then I like married him and I'm a lying little POS. And then I was like, and also I have feelings for you. And I'm like, no, you didn't. Like, no, you aren't. No, I'm not. Like, what? How am I gonna pull this off? This is gonna be so embarrassing. And so when Billy's of course like when we're reading lines together in his room or mine, he can't take anything seriously. So he's like, I love to see how you're gonna pull this one off. And I'm like, shut up, I don't know.
Well, guess what? You did, because I feel like we were like, we saw it. Like we saw the consistent battle that Cat had as like lying to not only like the family, but to Chad. And we saw such like chemistry that I know I said on the show, I wish like pretending to be Abigail didn't happen, because Chad and Cat would be amazing together. But with that little layer, I mean, but then again, it's Salem. Like people have kidnapped people have done all kinds of stuff to people, and they still end up madly in love. But you guys had such great chemistry with each other that we were like, of course she loves him. Like she's living for this moment, but she's like pretending to be Abigail because Clyde told her to do it. Although we don't really understand why Clyde just wants her to do all this stuff for money, but we are on this track with her, and you love him and we love him too.
Well, I'm glad that it was felt, because I know like we have our fun and we can be messy, but we really care. And that's what I noticed in Billy. And I know for myself, no matter what I do, well, when I was working, don't hold this against me, y'all, but when I was working at Saddle Ranch on Sunset Boulevard at 18 years old as a hostess,
I love Saddle Ranch.
Oh my God, I was selling bull rides, honey, t-shirts, hats, and sitting you at your table because I was too young to serve drinks. But I took my job seriously. And so whether I'm like seating you at a table at a restaurant or you know, on Nip Tuck and working with Ryan Murphy or doing an iconic show that's the longest running show on earth. For me, every moment to me is my big moment. And I have to show up for it. And to be able to have, thankfully, I have ADHD, y'all. So it really works with the fast move. I get bored. So I'm like, okay, like maybe 2 would be great, but I'll work with 1. But having someone to work across from like Billy and fun and trusting myself. I think, you know, now at this age, I'm in my later 30s, and I've been doing this for so long that it's almost kind of reset my experience of my work as an actress, because you're just thrown into the frying pan. It's like, okay, recording and go. All right, next. Bye. Have a good week. I'm like, oh, did I already do my scenes?
Speaking of that.
So if you can feel it, it's like that's when you know. So you guys felt it, and that makes me really happy.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Speaking of that, I'm curious, what went into like your decision making? Again, you had such a varied career. Like, what went into your decision making to try daytime? Was it a challenge, something new? Like, you know, I'll give this a try.
You know what? I have a very kind of, I think all of us in different ways had to find our peace over the last 4 or 5 years with everything that's happened in our world. And I've gone on a really spiritual journey myself in my own personal life. And I let the magic guide me now. And it's so funny because that's what I did when I was a teenager and actually younger than that. It was the reason I found myself in this magical world of make-believe to begin with. And I think I lost that for a while. And the magic came back for me. And now I will feel, and like I will feel if a project's right for me. Yeah. And I just honestly did a meditation. I felt into it. It was full body yes, which is like what my my inner tells me to get a full body yes, that is like the universe is speaking through you. And so it was honestly a universe magic moment. And the fact that it was like, I started doing the math. I dreamed of being an actress. My first role ever in a school play. I was 9 years old. Then at 18, I moved to LA and meet Marnie Sayeda. And then at 36, I re-meet Marnie and I joined her in Due Days. So there was kind of like, there was number magic. There was my own personal magic. So it was really different. It was not the way that I normally choose projects. But it felt right. And honestly, I go to work every day and I'm walking down the stairs to my dressing room and I'm like, I'm so grateful for my life. I'm so grateful for this job.
Oh, that's great.
I've never experienced kindness at the level that I experienced it on this set, in the makeup and hair room, amongst the actors, whether they've been there 40 years or 2 weeks. There's camaraderie. It feels like we're theater, like actors in our dressing rooms going and learning lines with each other. There's a sense of family that I've never really had. And it's really, really lovely.
Yeah. You mentioned that that you have ADHD and that like the fast pace kind of works with that in your body and your system. What do you feel like the camaraderie and the family aspect of this show kind of grounds you more into those quiet moments that you have to play?
Absolutely. I think, I think that a lot of my work exacerbated some of the things that I've dealt with in the mental health world. And we talked before we went on here that I'm very vocal about the different mental health concerns that I've had. When I found out that Abigail, who we weren't sure if I was going to be her, right? So when I found out she had DID, I was like, stop, that's crazy. Like that was such a crazy synergistic thing. But it's a very grounding, very rooted energy that you walk into because it's just a very well-oiled machine. When you've been doing something for 6 decades, you better be good at what you do. And they are. And so we can I think we can all show up with our colorfulness when it's an ensemble, like when it's like the whole cast for something like a wedding or a party or so, it's like a bunch of kids. Like I feel so bad for Jess and Lucy, our stage managers, because they're like, guys, please stop talking while your co-stars are speaking on camera. We are rolling. Did you remember? So there's the playfulness too, but it's very grounded as well.
Well, we have some fans that want to ask you some questions, AnnaLynne. And first of all, we're very excited because we haven't been able to do this in a long time. So I'm happy that fans get to have this interaction with you. So first, we're going to bring in Megan from Tolton, Massachusetts with a question. Hey, Megan.
Hi. Hi, AnnaLynne. It's so awesome to meet you. You're so amazing.
Oh, nice to meet you too.
So my question, I'm a school adjustment counselor, and I applaud you for all your strength and sharing that you live with DID. And I'm just wondering how, if at all, does that impact your work as an actor? And how do you feel that diagnosis and other mental health issues have been portrayed on screen, including on Days?
Well, it's actually, I thank you, first of all, for talking about something that's really deeply a part of my journey, my personal journey, and really close to my heart, because I don't want anyone to feel those darker days that I've lived through where I felt alone. And if they can look to a character that I play or something I've said in the public eye about my own journey, that really makes me happy. To answer your beautifully well put question, we did have a conversation when we were kind of referring back to Abigail's dissociative identity disorder, because at one point someone in passing said, I think she has multiple personalities. And I asked the writing team, I was like, can we change this? This doesn't reflect what it's like for someone who's gone through it. That title was incorrect when it was originally created by in the Diagnostic Statistics Manual. And they immediately changed the writing. They immediately catered to actually what I was sharing with them. There were moments, and because we didn't know if it was real or not, in some of the moments when my character was having flashbacks, I played them the way I lived them. And when I was coming into fusion with different aspects of my parts, I would have like what looked like seizure convulsions. And then I would like flash into a part. And it was literally, it felt like the way the movies do different timelines of a parallel universe. It would be like I time traveled back to 1997 and suddenly I'm 10 years old again. And my body feels like I intellectually know I'm a, 37-year-old woman, but I don't feel that way. I can't express. My words come out as a 10-year-old. My vocabulary is that of a 10-year-old. And this is really isolating and really scary, especially when you don't have support. So to be able to see, I think projects are coming about where they're starting to take more responsibility with what they're portraying. But I don't think that DID has been accurately portrayed in my industry. I think that the Split and Sybil and these projects kind of sensationalized aspects that are not very sensational for us when we're living through them. And I think that we have a bigger responsibility, and thankfully we're stepping into an age where we're taking that onto our shoulders, even if it's just the individual playing the character. But I think writers and storytellers are really wanting to consult individuals who have lived with this, have those individuals on set now. So there is more of an opportunity to allow people the access. I didn't know where to go when I found out I had DID. I'm like, what does this look like? And it didn't look like, suddenly I'd like to invite you over for tea. It was not that. And I have a great sense of humor with my journey. Like, so my doctor's like, there's a spectrum. And I was very far down the dissociation spectrum, so much so that these parts arose to save my life. And they did. And I'm grateful to every part of myself that did what it needed to do in a moment where it didn't have what it needed, and it created what it created. And I think it played into my world of acting more than I realized. And I think that it's wildly undiagnosed. I think that a lot more people suffer higher or deeper levels of the spectrum of DID than doctors are comfortable diagnosing or are aware enough to diagnose. I was diagnosed bipolar. I was diagnosed with all kinds of things that I later, turns out I actually had DID. So there's a lot of room to expand on that. Sorry, I get long-winded when I talk about this. But thank you for your question, and thank you for what you're doing, because we need you. Those of us like me get through our lives and actually maybe continue to live because of people who choose to do what you're doing. So thank you for showing up in the way you do.
Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you, Megan.
Thanks,
we appreciate you. Yeah. We have another question for you. We're going to go to Chels from St. Louis, Missouri. Hey, Chels, how are you?
Hi. How are you? Great to meet you. Love your work.
Thank you. Nice to meet you too.
Nice to meet you. No, my question's a little simple and silly, but your character's still fairly new to Salem. Citizens haven't had much empathy or sympathy for her. But who are some of the women characters on the show you'd like to see Kat share more scenes with or become friends with? Because, I mean, we know every gal needs her pals.
She does need her pals. And that's a great question, because she is definitely, with good reason, going to be quite ostracized in the beginning of this whole new discovery of who she really is. I love working with Sherry. Gabby doesn't really like Kat that much, so that might be a hard sell. There's also the potential for Susan to take her under her wing and teach her how to be a psychic. I'm now sprinkling storylines for the writers. Like, there is someone who comes into Salem, and she might be returning, or I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say. And that's the first time you start to see Kat actually have a friend. I'm not going to say who that is, but I think that the big focus for Kat is, can she ever get Chad to forgive her, of course. So that would be the first step. But I think mentorship would be a good kind of segue into building friendship in Salem after kind of pissing off the entire town and all the main we'll start with maybe someone will take her under their wing.
Oh, I'm rooting for her. Would love to see it.
Oh, we're rooting for it too. You know what? I feel like the women of Salem should just rally around Cat and just say, you know what? Listen, Salem has gone through it all. We've come back from the dead. We've had fake pregnancies. We live, we learn, we'll love and forgive.
And again, who in town has not been negatively affected by Clyde Weston?
Yes.
That
So
is
true.
a victim too.
Yeah.
Remember that
Just
guy.
need another book club with the special donuts with all the gals. That's what we need.
This is why you're my friend. You literally
That's why we're
just read
friends.
my mind. Yeah, I'm sorry. This is my friend Chelsea.
Well,
we
thank
will have
you,
that
Chels.
book club ourselves.
Yes. Well, thank you, Chels, for your question. We really appreciate that. That was a good one.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Y'all have
All
fun.
right. All right. And we have one more question for you, AnnaLynne, and this comes from Jennifer from Nashville, Tennessee. Hey, Jen.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
And
Nice
the
to
wall of
meet you.
Dan.
Is that what's happening? I love it.
The wall of Dan.
I
I'm
also
over-
have a wall of Dan, just so you know.
Oh, you do? Well, hey, we're in good company then. You have very good taste.
Billy would be so upset at all of this Dan love and no love for him.
You'll be okay. Well, I was like, nice to meet you. I agree with Sherry though, because Sherry is another one of my favorites. I adore her, so I would love that. But anyway, my question is, if you, AnnaLynne, could give advice to Kat about pretending to be Abigail, as Tony likes to call her, what would it be?
That's a wonderful question. I would say, honey, baby child, sit down. Here's some hot cacao. We're about to do a ceremony, and I am about to do an exorcising of demons and severing of cords. And then we're going to talk about the fact that you have boundary issues. You know what? You have a savior complex. You got boundary issues. No, I think I would be a listening ear, because she's in a circumstance, and now that it's been unveiled that it's her mother, she's in a circumstance that puts you in this position. And I think the viewer and Chad and people who start to hear the story as it unveils itself through Salem, if they're actually introspective, they have to say, well, what would I do in this circumstance? When it's someone that you love, how far do you go, and who do you harm? And I think this is a real, it's your question is beautiful, because it opens up a big conversation of our world right now. And it's like, hurting people hurt other people. My character's hurting. She doesn't know what's going on with her mom. She is willing to hurt good people because she's in a position where she's protecting her own. And I think we've all been in circumstances, probably not as extreme as it is in Salem. But when we're looking at what's going on in our world right now, and things are happening that I'm sure all of us feel strongly about, at least one area of our socio-political dynamic right now. And the question becomes, who do you become when you're faced with this? And I know I lived it, because of I was saying earlier, I dealt with a lot of mental health and trauma, and I hurt a lot of people because of the trauma that I hadn't processed yet. And my best friend, first acting partner, and best friend, my oldest friend, Jessica Menhoff. That's actually who I was thinking about when you said that, Tony, earlier. I'm glad I got this.
See, we all have the old friend.
Old. She would totally smack me right now. She was the reason that I got involved fighting human trafficking, which I've been doing for over 15 years. She's the one who's been with me at the United Nations, like speaking, advocating for human rights and mental health and all the different things. And she's the CEO of an organization called I'll Go First. And it's about telling your story when you've gone through trauma. And she says, trauma is not our fault, but it becomes our responsibility. I didn't know that she hadn't come up with that quote yet. And I was like, you need to get it together a little quicker. We were learning together. But in hindsight and reflection, that's what I lived. And I think that's the conversation I would have with Kat. I would say, look, this trauma is real. What you're feeling is valid. And also you're now responsible for the actions that you have played out in the lives of all of these people. And don't worry, she eats some humble pie, y'all. So
oh, that's a beautiful answer. Beautiful.
Thank you.
On mute. Sorry, my roommate's dog started barking, and I was like, I'm pretty sure people can hear that. But thank you, Jen. I appreciate you. Thank you for your question.
Thank you, and welcome to the Days family, AnnaLynne.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
Hi, Jen. All right, but so let's talk about this week, because this week was there was a lot happening this week. A lot unfolded.
Okay, Tamara Judge. Okay.
You know.
I mean, what a week. I feel like we've been talking about the journey of Kat, and I feel like a lot unfolded this week as far as finally seeing Clyde, seeing your mother, having to explain it to Aaron, what was happening. Poor Mark is still in jail. There is a lot happening when you first, as you've been going through this and you got that script that you're like, okay, we're here. I think I'm getting it. What was your initial reaction to how this was finally going to play out and how everything was going to unfold?
Well, it's so funny you say that, because I thought, because obviously this plays out over the course of this week, so it was a couple episodes to tell this part of the story, and I genuinely thought that my mother being brainwashed and having gone through this, for all these years, I thought that she was going to pull the trigger on Chad, and that I was going to redeem myself by taking a bullet or, and then it would have, I was like, no, Chad, I was so ready. Drop, roll, doing my own stunts over here. But when she just takes off and she ends up shooting Clyde, I was like, what about my redemption? I'm like, actresses, it's like bullshit. My line. I was like, wait, but my line.
Well, that would have been the second time, because when your brother Mark came to Paris during the wedding, you stepped in front don't you shoot
what I was
him.
thinking. I was thinking she fully goes through with it. This it actually happens. They just miss her heart by a millimeter, and she ends up in recovery, and then she's the sad sappy, and he's got to be like, well, you saved my life, I forgive you. And I'm like, yay, now make out with me. But that is not what happened, and she has been eating humble pie for longer than I care to tell you. And if the writers, a little note to the writers, if I have to say I'm sorry one more time, I am all about apologies, but it has been 3 years.
Well, we're with you on that, because we've talked about it on the show. It's like you were saying, what do you do in this situation? And the situation for her is her mother, who they all presumed was dead, because of this accident, is actually alive. And now you have the guy who has her telling you this is what you have to do in order to get your mother. And it's like the many of times you explain that to everybody in Salem. Everyone looked at you like, how dare you pretend to be our dead daughter, our dead wife? And it's like, yo, she's got a family too. She didn't want to do it. We saw the struggle that she didn't want to do it. She knew she was hurting, but she was also like, but my mom is somewhere and I don't know where she is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what it is, Tony? She doesn't have Leo's tea on other people yet.
See, that's what it is. If Kat had came to Salem and had everybody else's tea, then everyone would be like, oh my God, poor baby. Let's go find Clyde, shall we? Don't say anything. Let's go find Clyde for you.
Yes. And you're also married to a serial killer, and you locked up your wife in a house by herself for months. So you got no right to judge.
None
y'all got any right.
And we got to ask about that bitch slap, or your first bitch slap on Days with Missy Reeves. What was that like filming?
First of all,
Jennifer number 2.
Missy's
or
the
number
cutest,
1.
Jennifer number 2. Missy's the cutest thing that's ever happened to life. She's so precious. All of us, like everyone, when she comes in, we're like, oh, we just want to squeeze her because she just is such yummy energy. She's like, I am so sorry. I have to be so mean to you and slap you. And I was like, okay, you can't be so cute. But it actually helped me because she was so darling to like the guilt, like, you know, like just feeling terrible about what my character did. But it's really funny because you have, you know, all of about 47 seconds. And you're like, okay, you're gonna step up here, you're gonna do like this, and you're gonna turn like that, and it's gonna be done, and we're gonna do it right now. Are you ready? Okay, let's go. Rolling. And I'm like, you know, normally we have, you know, stunt choreographer takes his time. We do the few rehearsals of it. So amongst ourselves, Missy and I were trying, you know, we're trying to make sure that the timing worked and everything. They definitely are like, it's just going to be great. We can feel it. Good luck.
Well, it was because I tell you, the second Jennifer and Jack walked in and saw you, Jennifer would not stop letting you have it. And it just kept going. And then at one point, she was just like, you know what? I don't have time for this. And we were just like, well, all right. Well, okay. Well, hopefully she got it out. But
Melissa Reeves's Jennifer is she is always so good in scenes where she has to tell someone off or haul off and slap somebody. Like just the way she emotes, her energy completely changes from like what you were talking about, like sweet, because like how you were describing Missy Reeves is kind of how like Jennifer is almost supposed to be, like, you know. And so when she snaps and she changes and she's going after somebody, like it's amazing to watch.
That was her. You know what I love though about it is she's still soft, like she's still this mother energy, but she's fierce. And I think there's an idea, and it definitely was perpetuated by my lovely industry, that you have to kind of like become this masculine like energy to be a powerful female, and then it's like, you know, it's not true. The feminine energy is very Tony and I are from the South. Have you ever been in a hurricane, y'all? The feminine energy gnarly. And I think she kind of becomes a little volcano, but a volcano is still kind of gorgeous. Like it's like you don't want it lavaing all over you, but like it's beautiful.
And it creates brand new landscapes.
Exactly. So I love that she manages to stay feminine, but she shows power and she shows her fierce mama bear energy. And you're right, she's like she ran through a couple of my lines in chat, Billy's too, and we don't care. We're just like, you know, let's just go and be real. But the stage manager a couple times is like, Missy, you jumped their line again. You can't just put all your words together.
She was on a roll. She couldn't stop her.
Yeah, she's like, I'm ready to go. Let's go. She's like, out the gate.
We definitely felt it because we said on the show that week, it was just like it's like they got off the plane, they thought everything was going to be hunky-dory, and then you turn around and you're there and she just lost it.
Yeah.
And it was really sort of this interesting moment of like redemption for Jennifer in a way, to be like, I was the one person who knew, you know, she was Abigail essentially. So it was, even though we're I think we're perpetually on Kat's side and have so much sympathy. That one we were like, okay, we'll give Jennifer that slap. Like,
she can have it. Yeah. Definitely deserve that slap. Well, and also because I always think two things can be true at once, right? You know, it's when you're doing inner child work, this is very true. But as a actress who's played villains for a long time, it can both be true that I appear to be a villain, and I also am just doing what I need to do to survive. So I think there's things when we try to make things cut and dry and here or there, we lose the nuance of human experience. And that's that sometimes even more than two things can be true at one time. So it can be true that the cat didn't feel like she had a choice. And it can also be true that she destroyed a mother's life again after to lose her daughter again. So like trying to balance like those energies and know that we're storytelling. So we, you know, you want this character to be, you want them to be likable, but also honest. So so like you balance those two things when the truth of the situation is that it's very, you know, put in that situation again.
You hit the nail on the head of why this audience, our audience in particular, just loves your character. And slowly but surely, we've also just come to love and adore your on-screen siblings. Yes. Please tell me we're going to get more time with the actual them in a room and not just on the phone.
Yes, you do get more time with them in a room. It helps. It will help. It could help. Hopefully it'll help if someone gets out of prison at some point. But there's a lot more wholesomeness to come. And I get a lot of stuff with Kennedy, with Felicity's character, or with Kennedy's character, Felicity. And I just love working with her. She is absolutely precious and she's funny. We had one moment just quickly. She was taking a dramatic pause. And we're always forgetting our lines because, you know, it's moving so fast. So our stage managers hear a gap and they immediately think we've you know, lost a line. So one of the stage managers fed Kennedy the line and she goes, I'm acting.
Right.
I did not think I was able to keep it together in that scene because all I could see when she took her dramatic pause was her telling off the stage and like, I am acting. I am taking a dramatic pause. Do not interrupt me.
I am in my moment. I am in my zhuzh. Like this.
I am holding space. Give me a minute.
I'm holding space for my acting.
Yes.
Have you done a dance video with Kennedy?
Yeah. Coming soon.
I can't dance, y'all. And there, I guess we did, and it went viral because everyone was like, "What is she doing in the background? What is that?
Oh, I missed
what
it.
Is that going?"
No, I saw that. Yeah.
I don't have rhythm. Like it's really bad. Like I have been asked to do Dancing with the Stars so many times, and I'm like, you guys need to understand. I am saving you from your own desires. Because I cannot dance, okay? I did a dance video with Kennedy, and it was very clear that I can't dance.
You know what? I think, AnnaLynne, the next time they ask you, do it. I hope that the spiritual guide says, you know what? You take your two left feet and you make them one right and one left, and you dance as best as you can. I'm gonna hold space for that. I'm gonna hold space and I'm gonna say a prayer that happens. And when it does,
I'm gonna need a little more than that, Tony. I'm gonna need you to give me a dance class first. I mean, like, listen, if I suck at dancing, it's Tony's fault because he told my spiritual guides to do that. They should tell me that I should say yes to that when I knew better. It was not a full body yes, okay?
And this is where practical Araceli will come in and remind everyone that I did whisper in Kennedy's ear that we need a Days of Our Lives flash mob, an organized flash mob. So, an organized event with the whole cast might lessen a little bit of the pressure off of
you know what? It's a good starting point.
The very, very back, row, you'll see the little blonde girl going the wrong way when everyone goes left and I go right.
You know, I'll make a deal with you.
Okay.
If you get that call again for Dancing with the Stars and you say yes, I will personally work with you and show you some of the best Beyonce moves ever to prepare you for Dancing with the Stars.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You also, Tony, you also have Abby Lee Miller's number if you want some true.
This is true. Although I wouldn't put AnnaLynne through that. Like, I mean, that's like that. I mean, you know, there's my version of, oh, bless your heart, let's just fix it. And then there's Abby Lee, who would be like more harsher than that. We don't want to go that way. Yeah. Right. But we want to ease her into.
And that's why we call Stacy.
Yes. Well, you
Stacey
actually, you know what? When Stacy, because Stacy and I, we do dance videos all the time. So the next time we do one, I'm gonna say, I think we should get AnnaLynne in on this one, and it'll be a step towards like that goal of like getting that rhythm a little bit.
Look at this. No, it's not it. It's not good.
It's like, no.
Oh, okay. So wait, but before we let you go, because I realized what time it was. We have been having a great time, and the next thing you know, it'll be 2 more hours, and you're like, wait a minute, I'm still here. We always like to kind of ask this question. You can answer it in a way that will keep your job, but in one word, how would you describe what we can look forward to with Cat?
Suspenseful.
Ooh.
Okay.
And
we'll
I
take that.
can't elaborate on that at all, but there is definitely something that I didn't see coming. I'll say that.
Oh, if you didn't see it coming, chances are maybe we didn't see it coming either.
Yeah. So that's all. I literally can't say anything else. I'm gonna leave it at that. And I'm not gonna get in trouble with Andrea.
See, that's why we say one word, because one word cannot get you in trouble. See, Suspenseful, it's like, okay, we're on the journey with you. We give you a couple of more words, and it's like, next thing you know, the soap detectives have been like, and like figured out the whole entire storyline.
I do not want to be responsible for that. Andrea is a fiery lady.
No. And we don't want to end our relationship with Andrea either. We love her. That's why you're here with us today. So Andrea, we love you. And we're doing Andrea. Well, AnnaLynne, it has been an absolute pleasure to have you on today. Thank you so much. And you truly are doing such an amazing job with the character. And we can't wait to see how everything continues to unfold. And we hope that they let you in on it so that way you know what's happening too.
Thank you. From your mouth to the writer's ears.
Well, trust me, like as many times as we've like rewritten the show or added things to the show, sometimes we hope, hey, this will be a great idea.
Sprinkle, sprinkle.
Sprinkle. Well, thank you again. You are amazing. And we can't wait to have you back on.
Yes.
Maybe when the bomb drops, we'll try to have you, whatever the bomb is, when the bomb drops, we'll have you back.
Yes.
We'll have you back on.
Billy better come next time. Sorry, what, Mr. Flynn?
Who? Watch, if anyone like cuts this part and sends it to him, he'll send me a text like, "What do you mean, who? You know who I am." Oh, Billy, we love
him. Well, y'all have the yummiest holidays ever. I hope you have lots of casseroles. I hope it's so good. And I'll see you in the new year.
Yes. Happy holidays to you, AnnaLynne.
Happy holidays.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, she was amazing. I love her.
Yeah.
She's so good. We gotta switch all of us.
I know.
Oh,
We gotta give us a second to readjust, ladies and gentlemen.
There we are.
Gotta readjust.
All right, and now it's time to.
Oh yeah.
An hour later.
It's time for Dishin Days. Yay! All right, let's quickly go through and break down what has happened this week, starting with Kat Goldman Nancy, the simplest password ever.
All his girlfriends.
I was like, none of those passwords would meet the minimum requirement for any. Like, you need to have a special character. You need to have a number.
Right.
Not to
8 characters.
not to open the laptop.
I don't know. I feel like even my Mac has like requirements.
Nope, not to open the laptop. To open the laptop is like the simplest thing ever. You can make it whatever you want.
55555.
Literally,
Password. I feel like Clyde would have had a little bit more of a. I had to let that go though. I was like, "There's no way his password would be that simple." But whatever, they got in, and it led to him being shot in the chest. I will second AnnaLynne's comment about redemption. I feel like she should have been the one, at least, to shoot Clyde.
Yeah.
Versus the mom we saw. I did feel like it was appropriate for the mom to do it, and I was happy she did it. And I was like, you are my favorite character, and you've been on the show for 5 minutes, but you've just won me over by your action. But I do feel like it would have had a little bit more of an impact if either Kat or Billy, Chad, would have been the one to actually do it.
Can we give a shout out to the mom for having a clear shot?
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
Like in the like you had JJ on one side, you had Billy slightly in front of him, you had Gabby to the side, and the mom literally came in and said, "Chapagal, dead, well, coma." Damn,
I know, not dead, coma.
And now we still don't know who got the body.
Who doesn't have Abigail? Who
done got Abigail?
Okay. Now we have the official debut of Katarina Green, nay Meliodas. Yes. All right.
But it's sad that it seems like it was just 2 episodes.
It was 2 episodes, but
so far,
as we know, this woman, there's no way that this woman just sticks around for a little bit because she's got so much explaining to do. I mean, never mind the Clyde stuff. Clyde's on the back burner.
He's
literally in ice for a second. For the first.
But where you been these past few decades?
Yeah, it's like, you were supposed to be like dead in a grave in Greece. What the hell?
She said, I'm not about this life. Let me go through these tunnels and see where I end up at. That's what it feels like. It's it's one of those moments on the show where you're like, man, like, no, don't let this character go. Like it was a story point with oh my God, what was his name? The father,
Constantine.
Okay. Constantine. It was a story point for Constantine and John, and now it's like you created the whole family, and you can't just have her come on, shoot Clyde, and then be like, now she's gone.
Yeah.
I don't think that was I think I don't know for sure, but I would think we would see more of her. I hope they wouldn't do that. Just bring her in for 2 episodes, pop Clyde's ass, and then send her off.
There's no way. We have so many layers to this.
There's so much more we need explained, as Araceli said, but then there's also so much opportunity to bring her to Salem, reunite her with the children, the rest of the kids, even the one that's in jail may or may not get out, who knows, but there's potential for her to be back in Salem and be integrated with everybody.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm probably gonna be. I'll stick a 90%, maybe 95% claim of positivity on this. On that, I know that when Katarina hears that Constantine is dead, she's not gonna care.
Oh, when she hears that Constantine's dead, she's not gonna care.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because one, we don't care. Two, we collectively cheered when Xander put him down. And two, presumably she has all of her faculties, despite being brainwashed by Clyde. And we got a little tidbit from Erin that she did pass down her Greek Orthodox customs to her children. Mm-hmm. So she knew exactly who she was. She knows exactly who she is. But made no mention of this man who was her father, who lived in the homeland. So I'm just going to say that that's probably the only thing that of all of the mysteries surrounding this woman, that's probably the only thing I'm very, very, very sure about.
Yeah. There's still a lot to explore with her. Even if she's not angry that Constantine is dead, there's still like connection she can make with people on his behalf, which is nice. And I'm gonna say, please do not. I know a lot of people are speculating, is she not his daughter? I'm like, please don't. This show is incestuous enough. I like the fact that they're a new family. Keep them a new family that is not related to anyone else. The ties to Constantine for me is enough. It's enough to introduce them and get them in the door with other people and to connect them to other people, but not enough to make them related or to like make them dependent on them. So keep them as a new family in Salem.
Throughout the entire show's run, new families are introduced. Mm-hmm. The Demiras were not part of the show when it started.
The Brady's
I don't think the Kyriakises were part of the show when it started. The Hernandez family.
The Hernandezes
were not part of the show. And yet they were successfully introduced and kind of were solidified their place in the Kate, whoever's family you want to call her part of. She's been a Roberts, a Reed, a Kyriakis, she's been a pilot, it's like the Whitney Houston. Anyway, the clip of Whitney Houston where she's thanking people.
Ulysses, Patricia, get it.
And holding on the court. This family, that family, that family. Anyway, my point is the complaints that like, another new family. It's necessary. We need people that aren't related to the existing families, as Justin pointed out, because then it gets gross and incestuous. And I'm sorry, we also bitch sometimes about, they automatically couple people up. That's a staple of the show. That's always going to happen. And they needed part of the reason to establish this new family was that so like Holly and Tate, the younger generation, had some new folks to, dabble with outside of their DNA makeup. That all makes sense?
Yes.
And I think they've done a good job of establishing this Greene family now. And with solid, like the character development has been solid. I wanted to mention this when AnnaLynne was on, because we've seen the chemistry between Kat and Chad directly probably correlated to the fact that now we know AnnaLynne and Billy were kind of going through the same thing, not really knowing, showing up, doing the work, not really knowing what was going on. And I think that definitely translated to this great chemistry they have together. So, the Kat character has been solidified. The connection to Chad's been solidified. These younger folks like Kennedy and I'm sorry, that's her real name.
Felicity
and the other brother, Aaron. Thank you. Like there's a solid foundation now for them to build off of, and I would hate it to just go away.
Yeah,
I would argue we've talked a lot the last couple of weeks about, you know, how this storyline in particular has been dragged for so long, and only now, 6 months after we met AnnaLynne on screen, now we're really starting to see the fruits of this of the labor and this family. And we've talked about how, you know, I had speculated, and it turns out I was right, that, you know, between the writer's strike, between stuff that was going on behind the scenes, that this storyline seemed to fall victim to just real life circumstances, just trying to get those things in order for once it hit the page and hit the screens, that it would kind of it would flow, and they wouldn't have to be like, do a retcon later on kind of a thing that didn't make sense, allowing it to be more of a mystery. I'm going to argue now that I think that's actually been a benefit to this storyline.
Because there's been more of a foundation set. It wasn't.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's been, I know that I appreciate how confusing it was, especially for Billy and AnnaLynne in particular, in order to play that, not knowing what you're playing. And I appreciate them for holding on, because I think that in the long run, it has lent itself to the building of chemistry between those two characters, and to the building actual blocks of this family, where we're getting little pieces here and there, as opposed to being told, this is this person, this is this person, and then a couple months later having to go back and like retcon stuff, which has been done in the past, and it annoys us.
Yeah. Oh man, I forgot what I was
going to say. I will say, I'm glad, Araceli, to your point, I'm glad that whoever was behind the scenes, right, they stuck with it instead of just like, okay, abandoning it. Like they did. Maybe they didn't know, to AnnaLynne's point, maybe they didn't know exactly how they were going to write it, but they didn't, regardless of who, you know, if a new team came in and took over, they didn't just abandon it. They kind of stuck with it.
Yeah.
And that helped.
I mean, for what it's worth, I'm glad Clyde isn't dead. I'm glad he's just in a coma.
Bless your heart.
Because I still feel like, I feel like if he was dead, then there goes a lot of unanswered questions. Like, where's the body? And like a ton of other stuff. If this had happened, if he had died and JJ had found all the stuff on the computer, then I would be like, all right, girl. But we still need Clyde to answer for a lot of the stuff that he made these people do. Like,
for sure,
you know, why did you keep the mom and brainwash her? Why did you have Kat and the family go through all this for the money of the Damaras? Like, I would love a point where all of these pieces of the puzzle come together and I can see the bigger picture and go, oh, okay. Either I go, oh, okay, all right, or I'd be like, oh, you know what I mean? But just to kind of
to Robbie's point here, they could have killed Clyde, and then Kat's mom could have known all that.
Well, I mean, it still could be true.
Yeah, I mean, she has answers. What those answers will be, we have no clue. I forgot my question too.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's a lot of unknowns. It's difficult to actually articulate sometimes what we want out of this, because I think there's just too many unknowns. We don't even know what to ask for.
Question to y'all. Did anyone else think that when JJ and Gabby were going to pose as Kat and Chad, that they would make JJ like kind of look like Billy, maybe put him in a suit or
yes.
maybe give Gabby like a blonde hair of some sort. Did anyone else think that, or was it just me?
I found it odd that there was no disguises at all. They just rolled in.
I mean, Gabby had her
shawl or
the shawl over, but I was just like,
again, this is a show where Kristen was able to walk around the hospital with no disguise, glasses and a ponytail, and no one knew. I always go back to that. Whenever I'm like, they should be in a more disguise. I'm like, no, Michael, just.
I like.
They're also in Canada where Clyde would know and his people.
Right, but so my whole thing was this. I was like, you guys know that you're trying to outsmart Clyde. So I thought, oh my God, they're gonna like. I was looking at Casey Moss and Billy Flynn. I was like, okay, they could like from the back, like okay, maybe some glasses or something, can pull off Chad. But then when they walked in the room, I was just like, and so then when Clyde brought it up, like, or should I say Chad, I was like, yeah, y'all didn't try to look like them, did y'all? Like at all? Like
it's one of those things that I'm gonna be like Michael, and I'm just gonna let it go.
Yeah, well, you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Also, okay, tips for Salem. If you are in an apartment that you're not supposed to be in, close the door.
They should have a 2-year-old with them because 2-year-olds love to close doors.
Right.
And lock themselves in.
Like close the door so that way as you're rummaging or whatever, when Clyde's gonna come in. They literally walk in, door wide open.
Nancy.
Like, can you imagine like being the neighbor and being like, what y'all doing? You know what I mean? Like, so it was no surprise that all of a sudden they're and then Clyde. I feel like Clyde should have walked in and just when they panned to Clyde, instead of holding up a gun, he just
leaning against the door.
Hello.
Is it me or is anyone else getting this is a way for them to actually bring Abigail back, like she's actually alive? I thought that's what kind of the point of this was.
I suspect that is the carrot that is being dangled in front of us because he was one word away from saying it. So I suspect that is the carrot.
Yeah, he was always sort of saying, if you kind of look at his mouth, it looked like he was saying alive. Yeah. But I also think this is a way for them to put that on ice. Because I think it's easy just to like, I never understood the looking for the body and doing all this, but again, like that, I understand people wanting closure that way, but I also think this is a way to table that for a year or two or whatever they decide to, and if they decide to bring Abigail back 3 years from now, this is the way to do it. You put him in a coma so that when he comes out of the coma, he can.
To what AnnaLynne said, who knows when they were writing this, what they wanted him to say after Abigail is.
Yeah.
If this was a figure it out later, like maybe they didn't even know at that point. I would appreciate somebody dying and staying dead. Even a character like Abigail.
Yeah.
In order for a character to that happen,
especially
they have to actually die in real life.
Huh?
No.
Oh.
No, I get what she's saying. In order for a character to die and be permanently dead, except I think, have we figured out is Stefano still alive?
No, he's dead.
Yeah.
He's dead.
But Stefano was still very much alive. 14 years after Joe Mascalo
for a while,
unfortunately passed.
No, I would just appreciate, especially after this show has brought so many people and even created a serum to read animate or whatever you want to call it people. I would just appreciate it if they didn't go that typical route and just let Abigail rest in peace.
If you didn't want her to be dead.
Well, we're not going to get the answer anytime soon, so we'll put that on ice.
I have a question. And this, I won't post this. This will be for us. And if you're watching or listening to the show, comment wherever you're listening. If Abigail turns out to be alive, are we okay with a recast? Or does it have to be Kate or Marcy?
Oh, I never care about recasts as long as the person's good.
I'd accept. I think it would have more of an impact if it were Marcy in particular, or Kate. But I feel like Marcy coming back would have. I feel like she just resonated as Abigail for so long. I do think bringing Kate back would have an impact as well. But I would be also fine with. I'd be fine with a recast again, as long as they're cast appropriately, which Marnie has been flawless in recent times with her casting. So I have faith that she could find a good new Abigail.
I would actually argue that a recast would be a bad idea, if only because of the insane chemistry that Kat and Chad have.
Right. I asked that question because I feel like I'm always fine with the recast. I do feel like sometimes it always depends on the circumstances, but I think in the circumstance of Abigail, I would want a little bit more time to have passed, especially if it's not going to be Marcy or Kate. And even if Kate came back, I think it would take a moment for me to adjust to like her as Abigail. But if Marcy came back, I would just be like, okay, like, she's back. But if they went that route and she's alive and it ended up being a recast, I would be like, okay, so we kind of have to adjust again to that person. And the other thing is that, like, normally when a recast happens, it's like in different phases of that character's life. So like if they were a kid, they went away and then they come back as a teenager. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
If they go away again and we knew them as a teen, but then they had to age them again, like those are fine, right? But then to have like it's always kind of a bit of an adjustment to when they're like the same age, and then it's like you saw them, and then that person went away, and then it's someone else coming in. It's always that little bit of adjustment, almost kind of like what we had to do with Jamie and Leo as Tate.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like having seen that, and then kind of shortly after having to adjust to seeing Tate as Leo. You know? So I think that would be the toughest thing, is that if they were to recast, it's like having that moment of like, okay, now we have to like figure this out.
Yeah. And in the meantime, I'm very much okay with the way things are right now, because I think leaving the mystery in the storyline has really helped it flourish. And again, there's no accounting for chemistry, which Billy and AnnaLynne have in spades.
They're gonna wait until
Yes, we're all thinking it. Yes.
Even you saying until just gives me fury.
If my soap formulas are correct.
Yep.
If that happens, I want Leo to stand up and go, no,
No, someone said, not Megan saying.
It could be Emily in a new wig.
Oh my god. One at a time.
Oh gosh.
Oh wait, I wasn't thinking anything about that.
To be honest, I don't know even what you're thinking.
We assume
I don't
you're
want to say
talking walk down the aisle.
That's what I was.
Yeah. Oh, how did Emily come into?
No, that was just a comment.
As a recast, like Emily in a new wig.
Yeah.
Oh, my bad.
All right. Well, that's pretty much it for that storyline, right?
Yeah. Except that poor Aaron is just listening to this on the phone. Like, you really can't give me anything at this point.
Getting this kind of news on a phone call for a young person of his age is probably, or I don't know, would a young person take it better? I don't know. He's
17 years old at this point, and he should be he should be a kid that's just having to worry about failing a class, not whether his mom, who was presumed dead, is still alive or is in police custody, and his sister, who was presumed I guess he thought she was disfigured and held up somewhere, is still alive or in police custody, with his brother, who is in police custody, and he's still got a younger sister to look after. I feel like we don't give this kid enough sympathy.
I feel like he's really just out here by himself.
He is.
Because
it was sweet, this may be in a different. Let me consult the rundown.
No.
Oh no. Okay. So like when Tate and Holly kind of took, he was like talking about buying gifts for Hanukkah/Hanukkah. There was a big conversation about how he mispronounced it. I don't know if he mispronounced it, but when they kind of they gave him like some love, I thought that was sweet. It was kind of schmaltzy, but it was also cute at the same time.
Yes.
It was also sweet that they got him out of writing that essay and just said, "Oh, we put your name on it. We know you're going through a lot."
That was the most beneficial.
Yes.
Right.
No, the most beneficial was Holly doing the shopping, because it's just like a brother to not know what to get his siblings for Christmas.
I will second that. As a brother myself.
What size is she? I know she likes horses.
I don't know. I've always been a great gift giver.
Oh my gosh. I could feel Holly's I was Holly this week. Fielding the phone calls like, what does this person want? What does that person want? I'm like, this is why you make the children make their lists on Halloween.
They're making a list, checking it twice. Gonna find out who's naughty. You're naughty.
You're naughty
you
if you don't
time,
get me.
Though.
You're naughty if you don't get me that list before Black Friday. You're not getting nothing otherwise.
Oh, not you only shopping for Christmas gifts on Black Friday.
I'm on a budget.
Hey, Black Friday is like a 2-month period now. It doesn't have to.
So they have no excuse.
Anyway.
Well, all right. Get your list in before Black Friday. My list is the same every year.
Cash.
You said cash?
Mm-hmm.
No, a man. All right, so we're gonna move on to our next. We're gonna move on to the next thing. Actually, you know what? Side note: what I love about the holidays, I love the gift that I get from my mom, because I know it's something that's always thoughtful in a way of like. She tries to like see what I wear, or like what I talk about or whatever and base like what she gets me on that. And especially with clothes, like her trying to guess my style, it's always fun to see.
Mm-hmm.
The one gift I do miss from getting from my mom is brand new socks and underwear. I did not appreciate that as a kid, but growing up, I'm like, you know what? Practical.
Yeah. I hate having to do that stuff. That goes along the same like when you're an adult and you have to schedule your own doctor's appointments.
Oh, yeah.
Like I didn't really want to be an adult. Never mind.
Adulting is ghetto.
I got to get my own insurance. Wait, what?
Like,
I know. I still get pajamas every year, like clockwork.
Oh, smart.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move on to our next storyline, which is that little bitch.
Mm.
And we're talking
and there
about
were a lot of them. There were a lot of them this week, but the bitch in particular that we are talking about today is Johnny, which I did a slow clap. I did a slow clap
for what?
For Alex when he said that.
Yeah.
It is rare. It is.
You handle that like a little bitch.
Like a little bitch.
Yeah, right.
Little bitch.
He like a little bit, like he bit like yeah.
But wait, did y'all notice the little smirk that Carson did?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that was not a scripted moment.
No,
it was like
it was
he
not.
played that like a little bit, like, and then he went. And
Yeah.
Carson was like,
"You did that."
It
I got
was
you,
so
bro.
hard for him to keep it together in that moment.
That was actually a cute moment, but oh my gosh, like,
yeah.
There's a part of me that's like, Chanel, what happened to the Chanel that figured out in 2.5 seconds that Holly had a big crush on Johnny?
Right. Okay.
Like where, like what happened to those detective skills?
She ain't here.
Figured out in less than 10 minutes of being in her apartment that Allie had cheated on her.
What happened? Like what?
That's why I don't. That's why I don't know if it was last week or another. I was speculating that Chanel is, and that was before this week because I feel like if she knew something was going on, this would have been the moment to be like, no, I know it wasn't Alex that slept with her. I know it was you or hooked up. Whatever you want to.
Yeah.
No. We still don't know what exactly happened. They just say hooked up, and hooked up can be a wide variety of activities. But Carson or Johnny said Alex slept with Chanel. This would have been the moment if Chanel knew to say, no, I know
Alex slept with Joy.
Joy. Who? What did I say?
You said Chanel.
My bad.
You was about to blue bunny them again.
This would have been the moment Chanel would have been like, no, I know it was your ass that slept with Joy, not Alex. But she didn't do that. So now I'm like, okay, maybe she actually doesn't know, which feeds into your question of what
Johnny.
Okay,
Johnny is the quick. Someone mentioned, where was it? Oh, his Sammy came out because it was a smooth, like, I didn't do it, he did. You know what I mean? Like,
oh yeah,
that was the Sammy. Sammy was, if nothing, could think on her feet to get herself out of a jam.
That's why he's a little bitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caroline in our comments is right. Twice in a month we cheered on Alex. What is the world coming to? What is the world coming to when I'm doing the slow clap for that man?
I mean, he had his shirt off all last week. Like,
I didn't clap for that.
I did.
I clapped in a. I'm not gonna say that. Oh, never mind.
I clap for that.
I clap.
I was gonna say I clapped without hands. I didn't want to say that, but
I clapped for Xander towards the end of the week.
I clap for that too.
I clap for that because that served multiple purposes.
What purposes did it serve you?
Like I said, it served multiple purposes.
Oh, multiple purposes. Okay.
Multiple.
Speaking of Christmas gifts, speaking of gifts to give.
Slow clap for Araceli, honey. Slow clap.
But yeah, back to the little bitch.
I was also about to get very upset that I thought they literally brought on Joy, and then she was about to exit stage left. I was about to be like, Days, you have got to be kidding me. Yeah. You are not gonna let that girl go like that.
No, she's a great addition. Yeah. She's dynamic with everybody.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where I want them to go with her yet, but
to be honest, she's the only one that's just kind of like, like, bro, what's your problem? We did it.
Yeah. Even though Kate didn't know the full context of the situation, I feel like she definitely clocked that EJ was trying to get rid of her for some reason. Mm-hmm. And I almost was like, I appreciated the fact that they didn't drag Kate fully into it. Yeah. She just kind of worked her charm and her magic and her charisma and convinced Joy to stay without again bringing Kate into it, and then Kate knowing that Johnny and Joy slept together, because Kate was like, you know what, I'm gonna fix this, but I don't want any part of it. I'm gonna go see my husband. Goodbye.
Yeah.
It's very much producer Kate. Yeah.
I love that for Kate. She's like, do I need to know? Then I don't want to know.
Yeah. Kate, like, listen, we done already had her, sis. I don't need that stress. Goodbye. I'm going to my man. Goodbye. So, and EJ, you got your nerve trying to run her off because Johnny can't handle the fact that he done made it do what it do, and can't live with it. He shouldn't have did it. You ain't had no reason to do it.
Nope.
Stupid.
We don't even know what he did.
Little bitch. Little bitch.
Well, now, look, Johnny, now you can follow in the years and years and years of Damaras who have come before you. You did something wrong. Suck it up. Keep your mouth shut. That's what every man in your family has done before you.
What I don't appreciate about this version of Johnny we're getting, it's like you are Sammy and EJ's offspring, and you're doing stupid shit and you're being sloppy about it. Mm-hmm. You were raised better than this. You should be a better liar. And if you're gonna do something stupid, you should make sure your bases are covered so that no one finds out.
I still can't get around the fact that you mean to tell me you walked in and saw Alex, but could not tell that wasn't Chanel.
Lord.
And of all people who's Seth Burns, or no, it was Seth Burns, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Of all the people to whose word to take.
You know what? We're going to start a list of things that Tony won't let go. This is now number 2. Number 2 is Johnny not being able to see that wasn't Chanel. Number 1 will always be why did Paulina not have on those shoes? Like, where were her shoes? The thing fell, everyone fell back, and she was the only one that didn't have on her shoes.
Yeah.
Tony's list.
So the list of things that Tony would not let go. That has, and we're gonna call Chanel and Alex and Stephanie Chanel sex thing Blue Bunny.
Yep, that's what I'm writing.
Blue Bunny. Well, we're done with this little bitch, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on over to Doug the Thief. Did anybody else keep having the urge this week just to say, girl, put that necklace back?
Yeah.
Yes.
How you come into the family stealing?
I had a thought though. What if we go through all of this, whoever Doug is, whatever with the necklace and everything. What if we go through all of this and the necklace is paste?
Paste?
It's fake.
Oh, fake.
Like
what
something
if we go
like a Santee Alley necklace.
What if it's nothing? What if we go through all of this and it's nothing but cheap costume jewelry?
AKA Santee Alley.
I'm just like every time the necklace came up and he would stand there and then he'd be like,
right, my precious.
I'm like, girl, you know you sold a necklace. You know it's in your pocket.
He didn't go, like, why is he keeping it in his pocket? Like, why?
Yeah.
If he was okay, so if he was coming to steal the necklace, so many questions, but he stayed overnight and kept the necklace. Like, why didn't? If he was there to steal the necklace, he would have showed up, stolen the necklace, and gone away.
Yeah.
So he's still there. He's still holding it, like Tony said, or like Tony said, like a precious. And he's just sitting there listening to everybody. And Hope, all it took to really convince her that he was really Doug was a phone call to this man that she's never spoken to before. Like, not even, well, send me a photo of what he looks like.
Hello, long lost brother. I'd like to know about long lost nephew.
Did he say he was coming to Salem? Have you spoken to him? It was just, oh, you have a son? Okay. Must be him. I'm going back to Bo. Bye.
But before she left to go back to Bo, she said, it's nice to meet you. Just know I'm very protective.
I know, right?
I mean, she doesn't know if his intentions are good, but she was sold very easily that he is who he says he is.
I wish I could do the Hope eyebrow. That one.
I can kind of.
I mean, I love the fact that she was like watching you. Don't mess up.
Yeah.
But if Jennifer's staying in town, Jennifer's got her. She's not slapping shit out of people. She's got her eyes on him.
Can I also ask, when you go to someone's house, do you walk around like the yard and stuff first before knocking on the door?
No, I
usually why did Doug like pass the front door and walk around and was there in time to hear about the box and the necklace and then swooped in, stole the necklace, put it in his pocket, and then went around to the.
I feel like he was scoping out the place first and just happened to come upon that.
He knew that necklace was in there, and so he was scoping out the place. Or do you think? Or do you not think he knew?
No, I think he was going to steal. I just didn't. I don't think that he knew. I don't think he knew what he was going to steal. Like he was like scoping. Let me check out this place. And jewelry.
Oh, y'all think as soon as he got out of jail, he said, "All right, Horton House, I want to steal from there."
Well, you remember
it can be a mark. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you remember that what little information we got from that phone call with Hope and his dad was what the part that intrigued me was his dad, which I guess what we're saying. What did he change his name to? Charles Leclerc? Yeah. I guess what Charles told Hope was that it made sense for him to go there. Now, I don't know. Now, that's very up to interpretation. But what I got from that was Daddy thinks that his son is up to no good. That's what I got from that. But maybe he's not going to tell a perfect stranger that.
Oh. Yeah, I took it more that he was inquisitive about like this family history now that he knew nothing about. I mean, I'm assuming he's been a troublemaker probably all his life, kind of a thing, and then was like, oh, this new
he was in jail.
They might have money.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know what we don't know at this point. It's all very up in the air.
I'm still laughing at the fact that I actually thought him and the other guy, Bill, that was a flashback of when.
That's what they wanted us to believe.
And so then when he was like, I'm going out, and then he knocked on the door, I said, wait a minute. And then I was like, did they hire him to play young Doug? And then now he's like, I was so
No, I was
so confused.
It was a unique way to introduce the character using parallels between this character and OG Doug.
Yeah.
That's what and I kind of appreciate that that's how they introduced him. They kind of because even when they did the flashback, they just put it in black and white. It's not like they tried to make it look old. They just put it in black and white. And so you start to think like, okay, is this a flashback? Is it what starts to get your mind going? And then when you find out who the character is and that they kind of have this person has parallels to the person that they're celebrating, it's kind of like, oh, okay. I thought that was great. I thought that was a great way to introduce this
in theory.
In parallel with what was going on with Doug Sr.
Yeah.
In theory, Michael Maddox, yes. Brilliant. Amazing camera work, storytelling, taking two worlds and bridging the gap. Amazing. Yes. As a viewer, I had a whole different narrative, honey. I said, child, look at them going back in time. And then,
I texted you all my thoughts about Doug and his cellmate. Multiple purposes.
But yeah, it's this grandson is an interesting character for sure. Yeah.
Still many answers are needed, and some context as to why he's here and doing this.
Just let us know what he gonna do with that bracelet. I mean the necklace. Instead of keeping it in his. If for the next month that man is walking around with that necklace in his pocket, I'm gonna be upset.
Also, sorry, my bad. Sorry, two Butterfingers. He needs to take off his jacket while he's inside. That is an outdoor jacket. You don't need to be wearing it inside.
How else would you know he's a bad boy if he's not wearing a leather jacket?
And you know what? I have seen clips of when they brought in teenager Sean Douglas, and he was supposed to be a bad boy.
He was always wearing the motorcycle jacket.
Always even in the hospital. And then I was like, LOL at them trying to make him a bad boy.
The only time it was actually practical for him to be wearing that leather jacket was when he crashed through the church window.
Lord,
because it served a purpose. It protected him.
And he was coming out of doors.
Yes.
Well, now that Doug the Thief has stolen our hearts, let's move on to some tidbits, shall we? But before we do that, make sure you subscribe to our social media. We are Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter, X, and Threads. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to join our exclusive membership, make sure you hit the join button while you're there. You'll receive some content exclusive to our members only. And you'll have a chance for a whole bunch of stuff as a member. If you want to hear us instead of looking at us, check out our podcast on your favorite podcast stations: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, which actually on Spotify, you can now watch the episode. We upload the episodes on there now. So yeah, you can watch us on there. Cute. And also go show some love to my old ass friend, James Lott Jr. over at JLJ Media on YouTube. All right. And now let's get into our tidbits, which is Brittany or Christina. Before we even go any further, let me say this. Okay. Harry and Javi, if there is ever a question between Taylor and Beyonce, Beyonce, Mariah. Gaga, Beyonce. It is always Beyonce. The fact that they said Taylor, who are you for, Taylor or Beyonce? Gaga. I said, excuse me, what kind of gays are you? That's all I have to say about that.
Well, we have. I'm just rejoicing that we have 3 gay people on the show at once.
Yeah. Except that I thought that Carrie was a little bitch.
Why? Excuse me. Why?
Because I mean, it's like it's just being petty for petty's sake.
What's wrong with that? No, who is he? Sorry, who is it? Carrie? Because excuse me, Carrie was being petty to Leo.
Yes.
Leo dumped him. Like why? Like, and Leo, and I don't know. Leo shouldn't have been inserting himself into.
No, I get it that Leo's annoying. Believe me, I did not want to listen to that conversation either. But there's the best revenge is truly having a good time when the other person is not.
Well, that's what Carrie.
He's like, I know, but you don't need to like. You don't need to. You don't even need to acknowledge him. Like you don't like. He's like a. But Leo was like a bug. Like at that point, just go away.
No, Leo is inserting himself into Javi and Carrie. Mm-hmm. Like Javi and Carrie are living their life like it's golden. Mm-hmm. And Leo keeps running into them like, well, baby, you messed up.
Yeah.
So now Javi is moved on to Carrie. Mm-hmm. But here's the thing, though. You can't tell me Javi still isn't interested in Leo because the way that he interacts.
Yeah.
I'm like, you still have a thing for Leo, but you don't like the fact 100%. That he did what he did. Mm-hmm. And you are like, you know, as quick as you were like, I'm not dealing with that. You still really can't let go. Although I have to say, I'm gonna call them the Javi winks are cute. Like whenever he talks, he'll say something like this. He's like, you know, and I'm like, oh.
I saw that a couple times.
Mm-hmm. I was like, okay. But we had mentioned Carrie like a few times on how he should be brought back in. Here he is.
There was months ago, I can't remember who posted a picture from the makeup room. And they showed, and you know, every now and then they'll take a picture. An actor will take a picture on set. There's a monitor of what's being shot. Mm-hmm. And nobody else clocked it because Javi hadn't debuted yet. And Carrie had debuted, but he was on, but no one clocked it. And I saw I saw Javi and Carrie in the scene together. So I was like, oh, they're bringing him back.
Oh,
I kept it
so
to myself.
You already knew.
Yeah.
Wow.
I knew eventually he'd be coming back, but
I thought that was it. I thought it was just a one-day thing. And I was like, well, that's weird.
But I mean, you know, when they bring someone in, maybe it initially was supposed to be just like he had his thing with Leo and then not, but maybe he, you know, maybe they liked his chemistry with people. He probably showed up on time, knew his lines. They're like, yeah, bring this dude back.
Yeah, right. Well, you know, it's like Julie Dove. Mm-hmm. She was there as Connie, and then she came back again as Connie, and then they had a whole thing.
So now Carrie's gonna come kill Leishan.
Maybe
you're gonna bring Leishan back from the dead. Kill him again.
Find his cardboard cutout.
Yeah.
Break it in half.
I would only wish that they would have some sort of party or something that DJ Terrence could, you know, and then kick things off. But yeah, I guess.
I will advocate for the fact that we need a new club scene in Salem. Not since Club TBD have we had anything. And so we are sorely lacking.
Club TBD wasn't really a club, was it?
I think it was like a rest. It was. I feel like how could I compare Club TBD? I think it would be to the Abbey, where it's like this restaurant club, coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
They used to have that club in the 90s. I can't remember the name of it. All kinds of stuff took place there.
Sheen Hart?
No,
that was a bar.
Like, it was more like the mother load. That was more like the bar.
Not the mother load.
Or trunks. That was like the trunks of Salem. I can't remember what it was called, but there was a club where it was in the 90s, and yeah, I can't remember what it was called. But yeah, there are no clubs there are no clubs in Salem.
There are no clubs, only small bar.
And
small bar where they can
only dance like this because it's
a small bar.
Okay, so question.
Sorry.
Do we like Leo and Javi together, or do we like Carrie and Javi together?
I think Leo and Javi, because I feel like their first date literally ended the worst way it possibly could. Well, first it started the best way it could, and then the night ended the best way it could, and then the morning after ended in the worst way it could.
Mm-hmm.
After that, there's only more room to grow.
I second Leo and Javi, but there's a place for Carrie in the mix too. Carrie's the what do you call it? The shit. Every couple has to have a
big interloper.
Yeah, Carrie's the hurdle.
I kind of like Carrie and Javi. I mean, it's hard to tell. Both of them all had. I mean, they all had barely a date or a night with each other. So it's hard to tell. But yeah, I kind of like Carrie and Javi. But
I just feel like Carrie is one wrong answer in that game from blowing it with Javi. All he has to do is answer wrong to the question Selena or Selena, and like he's out on his ass.
Well, he already out on his ass with me because they both said Gaga.
Not Gomez every time.
What?
In the question of Selena versus Selena, it's Quintanilla, not Gomez. It's Quintanilla every time. The original, the iconic, the Bidi Bidi Bamba. When anybody asks, it's never. The answer is never Gomez.
Michael Mattis, if you sing that song, you have to do it like J-Lo, and you have to be like, I could fall in love. You have to do it like that. It's the only way to sing that song.
Okay.
I think I'm kind of torn. I like the freshness of Carrie, but I feel like him and Leo didn't get like a full chance. Because I feel like he should have understood like how he put 2 + 2 to get 4, and it made sense. Like he didn't want to believe it, but that's the only thing that made sense at the time. And when he realized he was wrong, he went to Javi with his head between his tail and was like, "Look, I'm sorry." And Javi was like,
And that's Javi's youngness, stubbornness,
Yeah, all of the above.
And more experienced older man probably would have, let it go. But Javi's young, and he's got the Hernandez firecrackerness within him.
Yeah.
Well, we also just don't know anything about his romantic history at this point. He could have had his heart broken. We don't know.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, he's doing a lot better than most people in Salem already out the bat. He ain't been there but a hop, skip, and a jump, and already been into relationships. Technically. So
he looks like he smells good too. I don't know why I think that when he came up, I was like, "Oh, I bet he smelled Carrie." I was like, "That's a man that smells good." Like knows how to, well groomed, and yeah.
Okay. I mean, listen, he's a very attractive man, and I do feel like when he walks into a room, he probably does have like a lingering scent of like,
Same.
I want you to go back and look at your face.
Oh, my face?
Yes. Because you're just like
I was agreeing.
Yeah, what I have to work with every week.
But I also okay, I was telling Justin this earlier. Like, I think because so Carrie is played by Derek Yates.
Mm-hmm.
And if you I mean, day one, we on Dishin Days started following him. And so he recently cut his hair. And I was like, huh. So then when we saw him still with the long hair, I was like, which style do I like best?
The longer hair
in the Hortontown Square.
Huh?
Well, okay, because there's three. There's just the long hair in Hortontown Square. There's the pub look where he had the ponytail and the down, and then there's what he currently has. The things that we will spend time on talking about.
I thought like both of the and I'm not a proponent of the man bun. However, he did not have a man bun. He simply had. I feel like the longer hair, if we're gonna, if that the question is out there, I feel like the longer hair gives him a unique look.
Yeah.
Whereas the short hair, anyone can have that hair and get away with it. Clearly, that kind of length of hair and get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
But with the longer hair, like that takes effort. That takes a certain kind of hair to and to be able to do it differently, like have it just lay flat or have it up in a ponytail. I don't know. I just felt like it gave him a little bit more of a more dynamic look.
And that he probably
looks good with short hair. He looks good with short hair. I'm not saying he looks bad with short hair.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the longer hair did suit him nicely.
And that he probably has separate bottles for shampoo and conditioner.
Oh, for sure. For sure. And doesn't buy it at like Marshall's or Ross. He goes to like a salon.
Yeah. Definitely not an all-in-one kind of.
You got to take care of it. And it doesn't look that good. Just, it wasn't dry. It had a nice shine to it. You asked?
Well, I'm interested to see how this goes, and I do hope that Carrie sticks around in Salem.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Moving on. Just one question. Team Philip. Team Philip or Team Xander?
Team Xander.
I don't know. I feel like they're
really
they're both not. What am I trying to say? They're both doing things wrong. Like Philip has the fake letter. Xander had the lawyer make up a story so that he could say it's a conflict of interest and drop Philip the night before the trial. Okay. Oh, here it is. Neither are really playing fair.
They're Kyriakises.
Fine. Neither are still. So it's hard to take a side. That's what I'm trying to say. It's hard to take a side, except that I will say, and I think we discussed this, last week. Philip was raised by Victor. Philip has been the one that's been groomed to do this. He's the one that's been groomed to to take over the company. It's his legacy, regardless of what was in any wills, regardless of what's in any letter, that stands no matter what.
And screwed it up every time.
But wait a minute. Let's go back. The letter says that he would have been the rightful heir had Victor known he was still alive. But didn't Victor know that Philip was still alive because him and Kate had shipped him off to some place?
Yeah, but he couldn't.
The issue was mental illness. He wasn't like remember Philip was being treated for that. So that's the premise, that he would have.
And I'm assuming
he didn't know Philip was better, or not cured, but he was.
So Victor knew that Philip was alive. He knew that he was getting treated for a mental illness. No one else knew. Him and Kate knew.
Well, him and Kate knew. But here's the thing. The bottom line is this. Either way, Team Xander, simply because Victor knew Philip was around. If he wanted Philip to have the company, he would have drew up something that said Philip gets the company. But I think the person he wanted to have it was Xander, because even though he treated Xander like poo-poo the boo, he had respect for Xander because he saw more of himself in Xander.
I follow that argument because Philip did have every opportunity to take the reins of the company. He's had control of Titan before, and every time he has screwed it up. Whereas every time that Xander has had control of the company, he's actually done quite well. If we're talking just in terms of the company, he's actually done quite well, and and Titan has prospered under his leadership. The only reason that Xander has ever been removed from Titan was for petty personal grievances on Victor's part.
Well, remember, he's also taken it from Xander when Philip comes back in the picture and given it to Philip on a silver platter. That's my point.
And Philip but Philip screwed. And then what did Philip do when Daddy gifted him the entire company? He screwed it up.
However, a judge is not like, if this was going to go in front of like a board of directors who had a vested interest in the success of the company, they would probably go Team Xander, because to your point, Philip, a judge is not going to look at, show me some figures, show me how well. A judge is not going to take that into consideration. So, fair point. And again, it's hard to take a side. Like, I do feel like they both have a legitimate claim to it, regardless of what's in wills, regardless of what's in letters, regardless of circumstances, whatnot. They both have a valid claim, and they're both doing underhanded things to try to get it for themselves. So it's hard, but I guess, you've convinced me after that it should probably go to Xander. Xander's probably the one that should be running it. But from a legal standpoint,
I think for me, it's not, I'm Team Philip, but I'm not against Xander. I guess I don't mind the fact that Philip is in the fight. I guess that's more of my thing. Like, I appreciate the fact that he's in this fight, and it's like brother against brother, as opposed to just, Xander should have it. I don't think that. I think if we want to talk about who has a right to it, then I think they both have a case, and it's like, you guys figure it out. But I think Philip has a legitimate sort of case to it, considering the history and everything.
And maybe Xander would have seen that if Philip had came in and said, hey, I have a vested interest in working at Titan. How's about we, do like 50-50 or something like that, because I'm his kid too. We're his goddamn kids too.
I mean, I'm not sure that would have worked. The reason that
But we'll never know.
Well, no, but the reason that Xander and Brady's kind of truce as of late has come is because Brady is not interested in ultimate power. Brady is perfectly fine working at Basic Black. And to be fair, Xander was never really interested in complete power either. He would have been fine with any position. He is one of the characters that would have been fine to work under Maggie. If Victor had said that Maggie's the CEO and that's all she wrote, Xander would have been just fine with it. Philip might not have been.
Also, remember, but Xander was 5 minutes away from giving away Titan. Like, I don't think a board would appreciate that either. For his wife, And that's
so she could walk and live a life, so she could be with Victoria.
and not have to use that hand grabber anymore.
She can't reach it. Well, now, Stephanie is helping out Philip his campaign, and on the bell to.
I think.
Am I the only one hearing
you're
that?
fading, Tony.
Tony,
Yeah.
we are losing you.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he's gone. Yeah. Okay. He'll pop back up in a minute, I'm sure.
Yes.
Tony.
Well, as Tony was saying, Stephanie is concocting this PR strategy for Philip based on false information, which it looked like Philip was going to tell her and then said, nah.
He was a little bitch and didn't.
Same old with these two. I don't understand why anybody would feel like Stephanie is at risk of falling for Philip again, because he's like 5 seconds in and he's doing the same thing that he always did with her, not telling her anything.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. She'll inevitably find out. And
yeah.
But hey, she got those spoilers to stop. Good for her. No body and soul spoilers.
Yes. And if I recall correctly from last week's conversation that she was having, all it cost was a shirtless interview with Alex.
Yep. Hey, wait to use him. You got him. Use him.
I guess. Yeah.
No, I mean, I'm glad that Sean is sticking with Philip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that I feel like Justin is just kind of there because he's gotten along with Xander over the past, few months. So he's riding with Xander. I don't think he has anything against Philip.
I really think that Justin is very much team Victor on this one.
Justin is team family.
Justin is team, yes. Justin is team family. And he's going to be team Victor. So whatever Victor wanted, he's going to abide by. And if Victor said in his will, I want Xander to have the company, he's going to abide by that.
No, but so we know the letter is fake, of course, but the premise is still the same, that Victor, Philip was being treated for mental illness. So that seems to be the idea, that he was taken out of the running. Now, let's ask the question. Do we still think, if all things being equal, he would have chosen Xander over Philip?
Yes.
You do?
Yes.
Oh.
Because take away Philip's mental illness and he was still an idiot.
No, I think if anything, he uses it as a bridge to bring them together, maybe as like co-CEOs, but I don't think there's a world where he chooses.
Someone is mad.
I don't think there's a world where he chooses Xander over Philip.
He did that multiple times.
Where? Victor chose Xander over
Philip. No.
Yeah.
When Victor was alive, Philip was the chosen one.
Philip, yeah.
Over Xander.
I think begrudgingly, though, he
I would agree with that.
Because he may have chosen Philip, but then it was always with a grumpy look on his face, like, dang it, I have to choose this idiot.
Not at first, no. He would gladly choose Philip, but then chastise Philip when Philip messed up.
Because he's an idiot.
But no, I'm with Justin.
Xander's a criminal.
Now that I've thought about it.
And Xander's a murdering criminal.
So is Victor. That has no bearing on the conversation, because that was Victor.
But then there's also you never claimed him before. Like, it's very easy to like claim him in death and want to give him everything you didn't before. But when push came to shove, you chose Philip always.
I'm just glad it's not me arguing.
People are asking, like, Stephanie's kind of, Stephanie was hired to do PR to make Philip look good. And people are asking, like, it's a legal court case. What does public opinion have to do with it? Public opinion these days can sway.
Yes.
Like, I saw the point of it. And it's like the real life case that is kind of an example for that is the Menendez brothers case. Like, if public opinion hadn't been so strong that the Menendez brothers should have a what do they call it, a redacted sentence or be resentenced or whatever. The DA here in LA, it's a moot point now because the DA was voted out. However, while he was still in, public opinion was so strong that he came out and said, okay, I'm going to look at the case again. If public opinion wasn't so strong, if no one had been talking about the Menendez brothers in the public, it wouldn't have even been a possibility. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely something to be said. Like, they should both be PRing for themselves. And that's why Xander knew that. That's why he went and tried to get Stephanie on his side.
I also think, like a lot of us have said before, Tony, I'd be curious what you think. We said last week, like, for me, the letter is sort of inconsequential at this point. Like, I know they're now bringing it back up, but it's like, for me, even if the letter didn't exist, I still think Philip would have a legitimate claim to fight Xander. Yeah. Not saying he deserves it over Xander, but I think there's a legitimate claim to fight him for it.
In the court of law, I don't think so, because the will is what it is. That's what Victor wanted.
Excuse me. It happens all the time. People contest wills all the time. Like, and sometimes the people that contest win. Like, if there's some other, like, Philip has a fake letter, I'm sure there had to be something that he could find that could show evidence that would say that gives him a legitimate claim. My words are
no, let's be clear. I actually do think that if we're just talking about the legality of this and whether Philip would have a claim, you're right. Philip does have a claim to it. He has every right to contest the will because it does happen all the time, and everything that he's saying, minus the bogus letter, does make sense. Mm-hmm. That was not the question. The question was who would be, if the question is who would be better at running the company, and who has the better claim right now would be Xander. And I think overall, if the question is who would do a better job of running the company, I think it'd be Xander, because Philip has had plenty of chances.
Okay, so final vote. Team Xander. Michael.
Xander.
Araceli.
Xander.
Justin.
Philip.
On your own. Because you team Philip. Are you team Philip?
He said Philip.
Yeah. I mean, I guess. Like, that was
on your own.
I'm team Philip. He has the claim to go after Xander. Whether or not, I mean, he wins, we'll see. But
we'll see. We'll see what the one lawyer that's back in town can do for him.
Which was a great setup. I love that. It was we'll talk about Brady later, but the Brady conversation, it was what convinced Belle. I thought that was a nice setup for her to like take this on. Otherwise, she probably wouldn't have cared or like not gotten involved. But since now there's a little bit of a personal stake there with what she just heard, I'm sure she's gonna take it on.
Yeah. Really quick before we move on to our last tidbit. Sorry, Me World. His entrance earlier. Hey guys, sorry I'm late. Hey Kat, sorry I had to lock your mother to jail, but hey, she did us all a solid. Free Katarina. Followed by sorry, she didn't see that part. And then he sent another one for his missed chats. Also Team Maggie. Christian, Me World, you could take all of those funds and just become a monthly subscriber.
You could have talked to her. You could have got it.
Okay.
And you could have got it to talk.
Okay. All right, let's go to our last tidbit, which is the first date. Now, I mean, I don't know what y'all heard, but I also heard that I too could go to the Nutcracker. Did y'all hear that? Felt like y'all didn't. That's why I brought this.
You just characterized as a date.
Just a day, if you said in any circumstance.
going on a date with like my friend Tony or whatever. I'm going on a date. We're seeing the Nutcracker.
Okay, Brady. You are a single.
So my question is, when are we going to see the Nutcracker?
Oh.
Balls in your court, Martsolf.
You couldn't take Rachel.
You have 24 hours to respond.
Would you settle for him singing to you, because he seems to be doing the caroling thing of late?
I want my ticket to the Nutcracker. He said it. Now I'm waiting. Sugar plum fairies, dun, dun, the Rat King, dun, 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 can't wait. I thought about that like after it was said. I was like, how funny would it be if like we mentioned it and then somehow there's a photo of us at a production of the Nutcracker in LA.
He'll send you a single ticket and be like, have fun.
Mean.
Anywho, I'm gonna say this, and then I'm gonna leave it alone. Kristen, leave it alone. You're doing too much as usual.
Yep.
I am all for Brady and Ava, whatever that relationship is gonna be. Bada bing, bada boom. Y'all go.
Yeah. This just is not a good look for Kristen.
No.
It never has. It never has been. Like go find another man. I
give it to, I will give some credit to Brady this time around though, because it helps if you're going to go on a date with a woman that she knows that your ex is a jealous maniac, that she herself in the past has been a jealous maniac, and that she knows how to handle such jealous maniacs. It helps to date a woman who can hold her own, because he has made the mistake of dating women in the past who just were not up to handling it. Not that they weren't great people, but they had no idea what they were in for.
Ava can definitely hold her own, but I'll tell you this. The way Kristen slapped her, it would have been an immediate slap back. It would have been.
But Ava's grown.
Araceli, if somebody smacked you, what you gonna do?
Have you met me?
Araceli, if someone smacked you, what would you do?
It depends on the person, truly.
See, this is why I had to ask you, because it don't depend on the person.
Yeah. Yes.
The only person it depends on is a parental.
That's why I said it depends on the person.
The person is your peer.
Oh, it's my peer. Well, I would just preface this by saying I'm not as brave as Ava in terms of the fact of there can't be witnesses.
What kind of mobster scene are you? Are you gonna slap her back or not?
I'm gonna circle back to a conversation that we had a few years past and say I will not going to say anything that could get me convicted in a court of law. And no, hitting my niece upside the head with a pillow doesn't count because it doesn't cause bodily harm.
Michael, what you doing?
Slapping back.
Justin?
Bitch, we fighting. Period.
Justin said, fuck the slap. I'm taking your ass now.
Now see how easy that was? It done took 5 minutes to still get nowhere. And then how did she start it off with, have you met me? and still don't have an answer.
Well, Tony, the argument can be made that you know that this is what's going to happen when you ask me a question.
Araceli, are you flapping the hoe or not?
Say yes, please. Don't say it depends.
What'd you say?
That it depends if there's witnesses.
Witnesses or not? You slapping the hoe or not?
Not in front of witnesses.
Witnesses aren't going to do anything. Did you see anyone in Horton Town Square call the cops because they were slapping the shit out of each other? No. The one lady was like, but they didn't do anything. She was good too
in the back.
The witnesses should only be able to witness the fact that you got slapped first, which is why you slapped her back.
Self-defense.
That's the witness. Okay.
I have to look. No, real talk. I do have to do a legitimate amount of thinking about it because this costs a lot of.
Beat up.
No, I avoid it because you know what? This costs a lot of money.
What costs a lot of money?
This moneymaker right here costs a lot of money.
They're done.
They're done. They're done. They're done. For those of you who don't know the reference, it's from Nene and Sheree being like, you need to go get your teeth fixed. No, they're done. They're done. So you're trying to say your teeth are done, therefore you don't want anybody slapping you to where you may lose one.
Okay.
Let me tell you. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna say this, Araceli. I'm gonna tell you this. If the four of us are in Horton Town Square and a hoe approach you and slap you, I'm gonna say, do it again. She ain't gonna do shit. That's what I'm gonna say. And we gonna sit there and sip tea and watch you get slapped. Have you met her?
Let's see what happens at our anniversary party at Rocco's in February.
Look,
see if someone tries something with you.
Look, I'm saying that this was 100% the right thing for Ava to do. The question was, what was Araceli going to do? Araceli's going to protect the moneymaker.
But the moneymaker has already been slapped. She already done slapped you.
Yes, and then Araceli is going to plan for a time where there are no witnesses.
So you murdering bitches.
Look, I'm gonna be like my girl Taylor Swift and say no body, no crime.
You that kind of crazy. You like Fatal Attraction kind of crazy. You are unsuspecting kind of crazy. You like 2020 Lifetime Snapped kind of crazy.
No body, no crime.
Why is that a Taylor Swift reference? Taylor Swift ain't killing nobody. I don't understand why that's a Taylor Swift reference.
Because it's a song.
Oh. See, there's like 1,000 of them. Like
Beyonce. All right. I mean, that's pretty much it with that.
Yeah. Right. Oh, except we didn't get to Sean and Belle.
Their marriage is over. All right.
Their marriage is over, and Sean is coming, and Sean is, I guess, gonna be coming back to
Yes,
Salem.
they're getting divorced. Now they both have work opportunities in Salem, which is going to keep them in Salem.
Yes.
However, apart. There. Done. Discussed.
Yep.
And Belle will slap a hoe who's gonna get in front of him.
I think even Belle is appreciative of the fact that Ava can hold her own against Kristen.
You know what? A Christmas gift just came to mind for you. Just a shirt that says no comment. No comment. You know, or maybe on the front is like 1 billion questions. And then on the back, it just says no comment. Or just a blank. Got it. All right. Well, that's it now, right? Oh, wait, were you going to say something?
Who, me? No, I'm done.
No. Okay. All right. Well, now that we have run a marathon.
Now that we're approaching hour 3.
I know.
Or 4.
Let's wrap this up, shall we? Let's go into our favorite part of our show, which are our segments, which is called Would You Slap a Hoe? We're going to start with mine, which is Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. All right. So my 3 Snaps Award, we've talked about it. I don't have to say much. I'm just going to play the scene.
I thank you. Don't thank me. You don't deserve it. You don't deserve it. Because you handled this like a little bitch. Little bitch.
When Alex Robert Scott Wilson said, little bitch, I was like, so Robert Scott Wilson, Alex Kyriakis, for calling Johnny DeMera a little bitch, I forgot Tony's official.
I forgot about this. Yeah, it's like that's saying something else.
He made it smaller. He said, "Little bitch." You get Tony's official 3 Snaps Award. Now the runner-up was Derek Yates when he said, "Oh, aren't you the head writer of Body and Soul?" "Oh, I am. Do you like the show?" "Yeah, I used to."
Oh.
I was like, the gays and their cattiness. Love it. All right. Let's move on, shall we? It's now time for
Caption That.
All right. This week's Caption That photo comes courtesy of Chad and Kat having a freak out and Chad being shirtless. And this week's caption goes to Aaron Ramirez on Instagram with his caption, 5 G's, please. Good God, get a grip, girl. 5 G's. I thought it was cute.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Move this along here.
I didn't even get a chance to say, and that was, you just press a button. You was like, all right, girls.
The response was, yeah. Okay.
And now it's time for
Those were the days. All right, everyone, taking you back to December 11th, 1968, when Susan Seaforth Hayes joined the show as Julie Olsen. We can see here, many of you may not know, but there were actually 3 previous actresses who played Julie before Susan came onto the canvas. We know that Julie sort of opened the show back in 1965 with her shoplifting that mink in the department store, but the character sort of really didn't take off until Susan was brought on. Again, the 3 recasts later. Speaking of recasts, you never know what you're going to get. So, yes, December 11th, 1968, when Susan Seaforth came on as Julie Olsen. And if you remember, stay tuned. I am doing a little deep dive into some of like Julie's highlights over the years in the Those Were the Days Extended. So look out for that.
And it's amazing deep dive too. It's a really great segment. You should tune in tomorrow for members only. When I forgot I said that as if like everyone could see it. Then I realized some members only content. Sorry. And that was
Those were the days.
something that Araceli will respond to is this next thing.
It's a gift.
And this week's It's a Gift, while the content of this conversation I don't think is worthy of this GIF, the GIF itself speaks for itself. I thought that was a very Hattie thing of Marlena to do. So I had to give it to her.
It was cute.
Yeah.
That's like that would be our reaction in Horton Town Square to being like, Araceli didn't slap her. Oh, she did. And that was
It's a gift.
And now it's time for. We have to hurry. Michael Mattis has to pee.
News and gossip.
All right, we are starting off with some congratulations. Some of you may remember Nathan Owens, who played Cameron Lewis on the show from about 2012 to about 2013. He has now been cast in a role on Young and the Restless, and he's scheduled to start airing, I think, January 8th of the new year. So just big congrats to him. We haven't seen him, or at least on daytime, for a little while. He's been doing some other things, but yeah, big congrats to Nathan Owens.
Yes, I believe he is becoming an extended member of the Hastings Winters clan over there, Eagle Eye viewers. So let me know if he's doing good over there. They could use some new blood in that family. Elsewhere, Susan Seaforth Hayes shared a special connection to the Wicked franchise. She actually went to go see the blockbuster hit this past week, and she recalled a time when she actually toured with the original Glinda, Billy Burke, in the show Mother Was a Bachelor. Coincidentally, They did film a televised version of the musical in the same studio that is now Days of Our Lives. I tell you, the stories that Susan Seaforth Hayes has, it's a treasure trove. Does she have a book?
She and Bill wrote a book.
Oh, yeah.
She and Bill. Okay, all right. Yeah, I think she needs to write her own. I think because she's got. I think she has so many.
She's done showbiz, yeah.
Yes, yeah. The story she has. And then Patria Darbo participated in a script reading for a new pilot called Two Stoned Old Ladies with fellow soap stars Kate Linder from Young and the Restless and Adam Huss from General Hospital. There's no news on pickup or distribution, but we will keep you informed if we hear anything.
And speaking of our new friend, Mr. Derek Yates, in his hair, he actually is celebrating his birthday this past week by also starting a fundraiser for Locks of Love. If you're not familiar, it's a nonprofit that provides hair pieces for children every 2 years up till the age of 21, free of charge. And this was a little bittersweet sort of happenstance. Derek sort of did this in honor of his brother Kevin, who was actually growing out his hair to make a donation, but was actually killed by a drunk driver. So I think his birthday, he wanted to sort of pay tribute to his brother and start this fundraiser and do some good work there. So if you're interested in finding out more about Locks of Love, or if you want to donate, you can go to @LocksOfLoveOfficial on Instagram.
Oh, you hit me with that, and I was talking about that man's hair earlier. Oh, now I feel awful.
No, that just makes him and his hair all the more beautiful.
And smell good.
Yes. All right. Next up, we have a very, very big birthday to celebrate. Happy 99th birthday, Mr. Dick Van Dyke.
DVD.
Mr. Dick Van Dyke himself. And he did a kind of spontaneous fun celebration by being in a new Coldplay video. If any of you have been living under a rock, there is a new kind of tribute video, because I don't think it's a new song. It's just, it's a new video because Dick and Chris Martin are actually Dick Van Dyke's neighbors. And so they thought, well, what special thing can we do for this man? Let's have a video for him for his 99th birthday. And he's dancing and he's doing his Dick Van Dyke thing. And I hope that he had fun, because in and around his birthday, he didn't have fun because he was escaping a fire that was in his neighborhood. Thankfully, Dick and his wife Arlene and their cat and all their other animals are safe. But they did have to kind of skedaddle very quickly out of their Malibu home because there was a really bad fire in the area this week, but they're back home. They are confirmed safe and happy, and we pray for continued good health for this legend.
Yeah, and just some reminders for the new year. The day players are starting back up. They will be in places like Charlotte, North Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia, Nashville, Birmingham, Oklahoma City, and Addison, starting in February 1st all the way to the 27th so far. So any interested in seeing them or tickets and information, you go to thedayplayersband.com.
Yes, and we're going to start marking down dates on the 2025 calendar for fan events. The first one we have coming up will be April 5th through 6th. This would be the Cinco de Derby. This is going to be an event at the Meadowlands Racetrack in New Jersey. If you would like to attend this event, please go to starstruckfanevents.com. You can see we have Paul Telfer, Lindsay Godfrey, Judy Evans, Matthew Ashford, Remington Hoffman, and our lovely Miss Julie Dove. It's going to be races, dinner, cocktails, much more. So that should be a fun weekend event. If you're in New Jersey or in and around the area, mark your calendars now and get your tickets.
And that was
news and gossip.
And now we're going to show you a quick preview of what's to come this week on Peacock Days of Our Lives.
He's totally hot. What's the problem?
I do not have the hots for the guy.
What?
Make your move.
What?
Choose your side.
May Victor's favorite son win.
What?
Up your game.
Can you sell it for me or not?
Maybe Doug is the one who stole Graham's necklace.
What?
And drop your jaw.
I'm pregnant.
What?
What?
What? Are you sure you're pregnant?
Days of Our Lives.
Bye, y'all. Thank y'all so much for watching Dishin Days this week. We will be back next week for another full dish of what you just saw.
What?
We saw him put the Michael Mattis, what is your Instagram?
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at MLMattis.
Justin.
You can find me on Instagram at Justin Lee Hareld.
Araceli.
You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at Tia323 Araceli.
And you can find me on all social media platforms at Lounging with Tony. You can also find us at Dishin Days Show on Facebook and Dishin Days on Instagram, Twitter X, and Threads. Whatever, child. We'll see y'all next week. Thank you so much for
Rachel and Ross had a baby on Friends and allegedly used a condom. Right?
Thank y'all so much for joining us. We will be back next week to talk about the shenanigans and stunts and shows of this show, Days of Our Lives on Peacock.
Thank you, AnnaLynne McCord.
Oh yes. Thank you so much, AnnaLynne McCord, for joining us. Okay. Let me give a real one. Thank you guys so much for joining us for another Dishin Days. We will be back next week to serve up a full dish of next week's episodes of Peacock's exclusive #1 award-winning hit soap opera Days of Our Lives. Special shout out to Miss AnnaLynne McCord for coming on and chit-chatting with us and spilling the tea on all of her stunt shows and shenanigans in Salem. If you missed out, go back and replay it. We'll see you guys back here next week. Next week will be our last show for the holidays, and then we will return in January. So, dish with us next week one more time for 2024. Until then, one more time. Until then, have a great, safe week. Enjoy yourselves, and we'll see you back here next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.